We're applying for HRL.
I'm Allie Bernison and I'm applying for SLA.
I'm Joel Foster, I'm applying for SLA.
I'm Stephanie Bartlett and I'm applying for SLA.
I'm Jacob Anderson and I'm applying for RA.
I'm Kara Anderson and I'm applying for RA.
Okay, so I've opened the questions. The first one is, quickly review the following list of personal strengths. As a group, choose 4 strengths that would make up the perfect RA/SLA candidate. Discuss as a group to explain why. The traits are achiever, activator, adaptability, empathy, ideation, responsibility, strategic, woo.
The first one that strikes me was definitely empathy, because working as an RA or SLA, you definitely have to deal with a lot of feelings of like and recognizing what other people are going through. And if you have an RA or SLA that can't do that, then they make no connection with the people they're talking to, including their work staff group.
Totally.
Yeah.
As an SLA, it's for sure, I think, critical to have empathy. Second to that, I think adaptability is probably huge, because at any moment, especially as an RA, even SLA, at times you have to adapt to any kind of given situation that comes in. I think that is going to change the scenario really fast. You got to be able to like think fast with your feet.
And college is definitely a lot of that, just thinking fast on your feet.
Totally.
I think RAs and SLAs have to share a lot of the same qualities, but I think one especially important for like an RA would be an activator, because whereas an SLA is probably a little bit more focused on the empathy and like listening thing, I feel like RAs, their job is like to get more things done, still in a way like listening to everyone, but like create an environment where people like do things together. Same with SLA.
Absolutely.
But I think it's important.
That also creates community too. If they're getting people working and doing things together, you know, then your house actually feels like a house.
I think a huge one for both, leaning more towards SLA just based on me personally, but for both would be the ideation or ideation, however that's pronounced. Because it just says like people that are fascinated by ideas, and I think like to be in HRL, like that is just a huge thing to focus on like what's ahead and like the ideas that are going to make the dorm cohesive, the community you're building within the dorm cohesive. Like for an SLA, like a Bible study, the ideas needed.
Yeah.
And like the RA, like activities for the kids, you know, or like for the people you're with. So just like to focus on like the fascination of your idea and to pursue that.
And responsibility, I mean, they're all big.
I think woo is kind of an interesting one too, because like in HRL, like you're diving into a whole group of people that like normally you don't know so well. And so I think when you're meeting these people, you have to create an environment where they feel comfortable and it's like fun and exciting and like nurturing all at the same time. So like I think somebody who just kind of dives into the situation, like just being silly and like making it just like a fun environment, like that's always like where people are having fun, like they're going to be the most comfortable, you know?
That's so true.
I think my old SLA described the position as just being, she said her job was to love us, which I think is amazing. And like with woo, you kind of get the connotation of like, oh, like, you know, like a guy woos his girlfriend or something like that. I know, and it's not like that here, but it's kind of the same thing where you have to put in all the effort and you, in the end, you get like this amazing thing, I think.
You have to have, I think, balancing and differing characters though, because you have the impatience of an activator while you also have the creativity of an idealized individual, and then strategy and woo, and all these things kind of go into play, like to headbutt sometimes, but at the same time complement
Each other.
And that's why I think that RAs and SLAs do a great job of complementing those different things. Like the SLA would be the more empathetic and wooer, while the RA, they have to take the certain stance to enforce the rules at the same time as being empathetic and wooing and just taking on this responsibility at the same time.
So do we want to pick 4?
Just for the sake, why don't we pick 2 for RA2? Well, I mean, they're both the same, but like, what if we just did like empathy and ideation
For SLA.
for SLA, and then
Activator.
Yeah.
and.
I would
wait,
agree.
what about
We
Woo,
said
though? I love
responsibility.
Woo.
I kind of love Woo too. It's a fun one.
Well, responsibility, I think, is like
Yeah.
definitely something that's necessary.
Yeah.
So here's my
That
thought
kind of
with,
sums up the whole job.
with woo and empathy. So woo is loving getting to know people.
Yeah.
Could you have woo and still be empathetic, you know? Like, could that tie in?
I think you have
So, like,
to be
is then we
empathetic
could-
to have woo.
Because
Oh,
then
so
if
then
we're
we could
saying, you
not
know,
have
like, if
two
you're
birds.
tied between empathy and woo, like, someone that has woo would be able to empathize
Empathetic.
with someone.
That's true.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
Woo's a
Okay.
Woo
winner.
encompasses it all.
Okay.
So woo, responsibility.
And I think that plays into an achiever, because,
Oh, man.
or an activator, I'm sorry, because having woo, you have this almost zeal to pursue people and zeal to do
It
things.
becomes a very active role.
Showing
Yeah,
up.
and it-
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it kind of puts into this motion of wanting to handle things and make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got responsibility, woo,
Woo,
activator.
And ideation.
Ideation.
Someone
Okay.
that's gonna
Yeah.
put things into play.
I like that.
Those are great.
Fresh thinking.
Sweet. So we
Okay.
had, what was it? Activator,
Ideation.
ideation, responsibility,
And
And
woo.
woo.
Those
Okay.
are our four.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, and we, question 2 says, as a group, discuss what you believe is the greatest need for the area you wish to serve. Discuss a way you can meet these needs through programming.
Oh, wow.
Mm,
For the area, most of you, like, this is SLA,
SLA,
and then we're
yeah.
RA. So,
So it's kind of split in the middle,
a
but,
little
But
bit.
they're all kind
No,
of.
but
It's
yeah,
a hand in hand,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They
um,
don't work together.
well, I think one of the biggest things is community. Like, how can you
Yeah,
form a
yeah.
community within wherever you're serving?
Mhm.
Like, what would it look like to be someone that's gonna create community rather than like tear down community that's being built?
I think to bring it here to Heidelberg, home, community and home, creating this sense of a place where people want to be, or like the,
Yeah.
the freshmen
Yeah.
want to be, or even sophomores or anyone, just like, instead of having a division of like wanting to go leave, you have
Mhm.
this almost like drawing or yearning to be around these
Yeah.
people you live with.
Yeah.
That's what, especially wanting to be like work with sophomores. I was in Malibu first semester, and that was one thing that my house did not have was community. And when all of your friends go abroad, that's something that's really important. It's like starting your freshman year all over again. And so I think freshmen and definitely sophomores are people that need that community the most.
Yeah.
Totally.
And like,
sure.
even
That's
like I know last year my dorm would go on dates with other dorms, and like
I
that's
love
like
that.
just creating activities that you can do with other people that lots of people are going to do together
Yeah.
and want to do, push each other.
I think another thing that's kind of needed both with RA and SLA alike is just like intention, kind of like seeking out like the residents and like seeing how they're doing and like putting forth that effort. Like that's just everything. Like I remember like last year, like it meant everything when my RA or SLA would like come to my room and be like, "How are you? Like how was your day? Like let me sit on your bed." Like you know, like that
Yeah.
just made all the difference.
Intentionality. But the question goes to the point too of programming, through programming. How do we do that? Like by handling things and planning some things.
Yeah.
And like you had mentioned Bible study. That was a huge thing for my dorm freshman year to bring guys together, and HRL did an awesome job of that.
Mhm.
I think, okay, like in my opinion, the thing that's underlying what everyone thinks is love. And it might sound cheesy to say, but I think it's true. Yeah, I do. And so I feel like, you know, how you hear about like those 5 love languages and everyone shows love in a different way and expresses it in a different way. I think it's mostly like just through the little things. Like, yeah, I think community is very important. And like organizing events where you can get everyone together and like go get dinner together, or like go to a movie, or go ice skating in the winter, just fun stuff like that, or like having random like a Groundhog's Day. Like who
Yeah.
celebrates Groundhog's Day? But you could. But more than that, just like the little things, like you were saying, talking, or like bringing someone a cookie, or
Yeah.
like I don't know, just little things like that. Saying like asking how someone says and meaning it, which might sound so simple and like everyone should do it, but I think it's really like the HRL people's job to do it, and so they should like pick people who have like a love for that.
Yeah.
I think one activity I know that's a great like thing to do. My friend who's in SLA did it this year, and I know you guys are doing it now, is dates. Like, you set up
Yeah.
like
Dates.
mandated dates, so everyone has a partner, and then you just spend time with that
You
person.
get to know 'em.
And then that creates community. It shows that you care for other people. It
Yeah.
shows you like building relationships,
Yeah.
and I think that's just
Yeah.
such a great idea.
That really unifies like a group of people in like kind of a unique way. Yeah, I
And
love
it
that.
pushes the comfort level. That's the
Yeah,
best
that's
part.
the important
When it-
part too.
Yeah, when it pushes comfort, it almost creates a bond that
Yeah.
is almost like unexpected or just like something that builds a relationship
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it includes everyone. Like,
Mhm.
whereas even
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
think this house has like such a great community, there's always a few lost sheep in a way, you know. And with
Yeah,
like
just
the
solve that problem.
yeah, you
Yeah.
solve that problem and
Yeah.
you make them connect with someone personally,
So
bring you in.
bring it to programming.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just one thing that I was thinking of was thinking back on my freshman year experience and how, like, to be honest, my RAs and SLAs did not do much with programming.
Hmm.
Like, it was very much like, saw them occasionally, how are you doing? And so I think the aspect of the times they would come around and talk to us was huge because they weren't that prevalent. And so I think with programming, like, reaching out to the people you have an influence on to ask them what, like, they would want to do as well. Like, instead of putting all of the work and effort on your HRL staff, you just sort of, like, get advice from people, you know, like, it's not all about us as applying HRL, like, we are having an influence on people, and, like, I lost my train of thought. Their thought process matters too. So I guess just like with programming, like, what would the people in your dorm want to do,
Yeah.
if that makes sense?
Gauging the situation,
Yeah, yeah.
gauge the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Go from there.
Very good.
Very true. So bringing it together, just like handling it based on the 4 core values that we've talked about and things
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hands-on.
Hands on.
Being very intentional.
All right, should we go to the last question?
Oh, right. Shoot,
Absolutely.
we're running out of time. Okay. Your RD comes to you and says they have a report of a resident who has been struggling with depression. Your RD asks you as the RA/SLA to reach out and contact with that resident. How would you do this if you do not have a close relationship with this resident?
I think subtlety is an important thing in this scenario.
Yeah.
Because even if the student knows that they're depressed, say they do, I think the subtlety of you coming in and just not like coming in and knowing you have a problem and I want to try and solve
Yeah.
it, because we're not trying to make people feel like they have problems, but we're coming in and the subtlety of we're going to get to know you a little bit more, and then those deep-rooted issues probably will eventually work themselves into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that subtlety of like slowly working yourself into their lives
Yeah.
might help
Yeah.
the scenario.
And a lot of times when someone is depressed, they get into a routine of just staying in bed and not doing much. And so by talking with them and getting them out of that, it helps just a little bit like that. However, I think if it's like a problem where you think they might harm themselves or something like
Yeah.
that, obviously you have to say something, which I think is hard to do. But like, I had a friend in high school who was like, had
Yeah.
a problem with that
Yeah.
basically. But it's just like you have to say something, and I think it's really important, like, to get them help. You know,
Yeah.
like counseling.
Absolutely.
Counseling.
I think your point of bringing them, like, getting them out of a routine of what they're doing and kind of inviting them into your life is good, because it shows that you're not just looking for problems or like trying to solve. You're creating a friendship that like they can confide in you, and then they feel like they have someone to go to, you know?
Yeah.
As you being like someone older and more experienced with
Yeah.
everything going on
Yeah.
in their life.
Do you want to go, Allie? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I'll say something.
I think like one of the most important things in this type of situation is just to show like genuine concern and like just be really like sincere about the whole thing, because that's just always something I'm super receptive to, is when like the whole situation is just super honest and like you go to them like with love and like not like attacking them, not that you ever was in that situation, but yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
And just real quick, because I know we're running out of time, I think it really comes back to the 4 like core values we gave an RA and SLA. Like, we gave them an activator, and so like we're envisioning an RA SLA who is going to put into practice like what they're trying to do. Like, they're not going to hold back. They're going to go and activate the situation, and like we're responsible for our residents. Like,
Yeah.
we're not
Yep.
just there to be a figurehead and enforce a couple rules. And then ideation, like we're gonna be fascinated with our ideas, but as well as as well as the ideas of others. And I guess the last one is woo, like that includes just loving on people and being there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
Woo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, HR.
Oh.